Hey there, welcome back to Tim Talks. Today we are talking chicken, so check this out. This episode today is inspired by Bobby Parrish of Flave City, who recently did his own video on how to cook chicken breasts that I thought was really very good. And at the beginning of his, he contrasts organic chicken breasts, which I get the attraction, don't get me wrong, I wish I could have organic chicken breasts all the time. Unfortunately, in my region, I live in kind of a small town, you can't always get your hands on that, or if it's available, it's really pretty expensive. He contrasted those with these big old honkin' chicken breasts that we find fairly commonly in our stores today. Look at how huge that is. These grow pumped up with hormones and all kinds of stuff. We don't want to know what kind of conditions in, I'm sure. And in any case, today I'm going to show you how to deal with these chicken breasts and how to make the most delicious, juicy, lovely, perfect chicken breasts that you can make using these breasts. Let's get started. I'm also going to show you 3 ways to prepare chicken breasts today. And the first way begins with a marinade. Here what we've got is I've got two cloves of chopped garlic here, and I'm just going to put it in this measuring cup because that's where I'm going to mix it up and get it off of my fingers there. I'm going to add to that the juice of, well, this is about 1.5 tablespoons of lemon juice. This, I think, was the juice of 1 lemon. I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of sugar-free maple syrup. If you're not on a low-carb diet, you could use maple syrup, or you could use sugar, or really any sweetener you prefer, honey or something like that. I'm going to use about 1 tablespoon as well of Dijon mustard, and just get it right on in there. Of course, freshly ground black pepper. I'm thinking about 1/2 teaspoon of that. We've got and about 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and we're going to give that a nice stir. And I'm going to add some olive oil to that, about 1/4 cup. That should be good right there. This is actually very much like making a vinaigrette. Just the proportions somewhat different. Anyway, so we're going to mix that up. There we go. I prepared my cutting board here by laying down a sheet of saran wrap, and I've got my big chicken breast on top of it. Now, the trouble with cooking this kind of meat, you can see, is that it's of uneven thickness, and so that means that to get this part cooked all the way through, we have to overcook this part. And so what we want to do is even this out, and we're going to do that by butterflying this huge chicken breast. I'm going to try to get in there about halfway through. And notice I'm not going to cut all the way down to the skinny end here, because we're just going to sort of open it up. I'm going to cut in there, not all the way through to the other side. And we're going to kind of just lay this back. That's also going to help to guide us while we lay it flat. And so now you see, and this was very easy to do, now you can see that it's all pretty much the same thickness. Not bad, right? Okay, our next step here is to just thin it out a little bit more and even it out by pounding it a little bit. And just a little bit. Put a sheet of saran wrap, plastic wrap on top of that. And I'm going to use a meat pounder here to just even it out a little bit more. Notice that I'm using these glancing blows. I don't want to pound down like this. I can tear the chicken if I do that. Again, glancing blows, we want to stretch it out. We want to encourage it just to flatten out a little bit. This one is nice and flat, so I'm not going to do much with it here, right there a little bit. But anyway, there we go. Here we've got a very nicely even, if I can just unwrap it here, there we go. We've got a very nice and even layer of chicken here, and that's going to cook very evenly when we get to that. Next, I'm going to transfer this piece of this nicely pounded out chicken breast. I'm going to transfer that to my gallon-sized Ziploc bag and remove the saran wrap. I'm going to add in my marinade. Of course, this marinade would work for 4 or 5 pieces like this. I'm going to cover it up. You want to kind of slather it in that. I'm going to seal up the bag. and rub it around in there. Actually, we could do that on the other side too, make it a little easier on us. I could turn it over in the bag, and since I have so much marinade, it'll be fine here. Again, like I said, that's enough marinade for several pieces of this. Let's smear it around and get it completely covered, and then I'm going to put this in the refrigerator for about 20 minutes, not much more than that. Now, since we've got an acidic base here, that's going to start cooking the chicken, and what we don't want is chicken ceviche here. So we're going to give it 20 minutes, and then we're going to cook it. While our first piece is marinating, I'm going to show you another very simple and really very delicious way to prepare chicken breasts, whether they're huge or not actually. Again, here we're going to butterfly this so that we can even out the cooking surface, and so it will cook evenly. And we just sort of open it up, and again just keep slicing. Notice how it just folds back. You can see here I made a little error. That's all right. We're just going to try to correct it the best we can and keep opening it up. Okay, that's pretty good right there. I'm going to get a piece of saran here. Now, notice I don't have one underneath this time. You don't necessarily have to have that. I can pick it right up off the board when I get done doing that. I've got my mallet here, and again, glancing blows. And I don't want to flatten it out really, really super thin or anything. I just want to even it out. You don't need to be too violent with it. And you check it by running your hand over it a little bit. There we go. That's really pretty nice right there. And this one is also now ready to cook. Let's go ahead and do that while we wait for our marinade to finish. My nonstick skillet has been heating up here over medium heat for about 3 minutes. I'm going to pour in some olive oil here. I'm going to say about 2 tablespoons, maybe 3. And this is really nice extra virgin olive oil from Spain. Oh, and that already smells great. Really fragrant, really lovely. We're going to tilt the skillet around to coat it. Really a nice smell. Okay, now I'm going to take my butterfly chicken breast and which, by the way, I've seasoned with salt and pepper on one side, and we're just going to layer down in there. Listen to that sizzle. That's exactly what we want to hear when we're cooking this. Now I'm going to turn the heat up to maybe medium-high there. I'm going to season this side. Kosher salt, freshly ground black pepper. And now here's the thing. We want to get a nice golden crust on both sides of this, and in order to do that, we have to leave it alone in the pan for a while. I'm going to not touch this for 2.5 minutes, and when that's over, we'll come back and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, it's now been 2.5 minutes, and let's have a look. Oh yeah, look at that. Gorgeous. It's got some nice browning on it. That's just exactly what we want. Isn't that an appetizing looking piece of chicken? I really think it is, and I think the brown on it, it's just gorgeous. We'll do the same thing with this other side. We'll be back in about 2.5 or 3 minutes. There are 2 ways to check for doneness with chicken and with other meats that you fry in a pan. You can touch it to see how firm it's getting. This is still kind of soft, so I'm going to guess it's not cooked all the way through. Probably the best way, and certainly the most sure way to do this, is to use a cooking thermometer. Here I've got a digital one that I use all the time, and if you're cooking chicken, you want it to be cooked to 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Stick it into the thickest part of the chicken, and wait for the reading. Here you can see this is not ready yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this out and wash the tip, and I'm going to cover this pan with the lid. My chicken's done now, so I'm going to remove it to a platter and cover it with foil. While we're waiting for our chicken breast to rest, let's make a little sauce for this. Notice we've got all these beautiful brown crunchy things in the bottom of our skillet, which I'm heating up here. I've got some white wine here. I'm going to put about a half a cup of that in my skillet. We're going to use that to scrape these bits up. I'm going to turn the heat down, slathering quite a bit, maybe turn it off. Let's turn it off. There we go. If the pan's too hot, a little bit more. Just scrape these up. That's some really delicious flavor. Look at that beautiful golden color. Let me get that up. To do that, I'm going to add some chicken stock. This is probably about a half a cup of chicken stock or so. We're going to heat that up. Turn the flame back on, heat it up to a boil, and maybe wipe up just a little bit before we move on. Got a little splatter going on there. That's nothing to cry about. It's been about 3 minutes now, and you can see that my sauce here is reducing nicely. It's darkening in color, and now it's ready for us to pour in some heavy cream. We'll pour it right on in there. We'll start with that and see, maybe a little bit more than that. I'd say I added here probably about a half a cup altogether. And this is certainly enough to sauce more than one chicken breast. Oh, doesn't that look nice? Oh my. Here we're just going to continue to stir it until it reduces and gets nice and thick to a coating consistency. And it's not going to take it long to get there. In fact, I'm kind of starting to get there now. You can see as I draw my spatula through the sauce, it separates in the pan. It's not like exactly coating the back of a spoon, right? I wouldn't say exactly yet. But there we go, and we're just going to wait until it gets there. This would be a good time to give it a taste for seasoning. Oh yeah, that's a beautiful little sauce. You are going to love this sauce. This is ready now. I'm going to turn the burner off. Let's plate this up. You know, just as I'm preparing this for presentation, I decided to stop myself to show you something about this. Let me just show you how beautiful and juicy this is. I'm going to cut a slice of this, and let's have a nice close-up look. Lena there, check this out. Look at this right here. Full of juices. I squeeze it a little bit, pull the plate back so I can catch them. And they run right out of there. They're still there. That's some beautiful chicken. I'm going to give that a little taste. Oh yes, sir. Let's plate this up. Well, now what you're seeing here is a delicious keto lunch. I'm going to pour some of this cream sauce over my chicken. And isn't that beautiful? Has a very nice consistency. It's really savory and delicious. It needed no extra seasoning. Get that on there. Again, if we had more, we would certainly make more. Now it's time to taste. Okay, so let's have a look here. Man, that sauce really looks great. The chicken's so juicy, beautiful. Wow. So delicious, so simple, yet so complex, the flavors. Oh yeah, this is today's lunch right here. But as soon as I'm done with it, we're on to the next dish. It's been 20 minutes, and now we're ready to get our marinated chicken out and to put it under the broiler. You can see I've got it still in the bag. I've had it in the refrigerator marinating. We're just going to let some of those juices drip off, and then I'm going to just lay it down. It's already fully seasoned. I'm not going to do anything else to it there. That's going to make a nice glaze for it. And we're going to throw away the marinade. If you have raw meat marinating in a sauce, you're not going to use that sauce unless you cook it thoroughly first, because that's got a lot of stuff in it that you don't want to eat. We're going to put this under the broiler here for a little while. I've got my broiler warming up on high. Let me show you what that looks like. Now, obviously, some of you have already used the broiler in your oven before, so if this is too obvious, just fast forward a little bit. But what I've got here is I've got the broiler set on high. I have a gas stove, and I've got the the top rack set to the highest level that it can get. So my chicken is going to be nearest the flame. And here I'm just going to slide that on in there right under the flame, as you can see. And we're going to leave that in there. I'm going to actually close the door at first for about 3 minutes. Set the timer, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to let that go, and then we're going to check it, and then if it's starting to brown, we're going to turn it over. Okay, it's been 3 minutes now, and if you can see in my oven there, you can see that we haven't quite started quite browning yet. So we're going to give it another 2 minutes and see how it looks. Okay, it's been another 2 minutes. Let's give it a check. Oh yeah, great, look at that. Now you can see we're already starting to get some brown marks on there. I'm liking what I see there, so I'm going to turn that over and cook the other side for about 2 to 3 minutes. Okay, it's been about 2 minutes more. Let's have a check and see how we're doing in here. Oh, my timer's going off. Oh, look at that beautiful thing. Let's get it out of there and plate it up. Okay, we've got that out of the oven now, and let's transfer it to a plate. And I'm also, just like the last time, I'm going to tempt this with a piece of aluminum foil for at least 5 minutes before I touch it again. And we'll be back when we're ready to taste it. Notice here that since I covered my broiler pan with foil, the cleanup is really easy. Oh, and one more thing. You know, food safety is so important. My tongs, for example, I washed them with soap and water before I used them again after they had been touching raw meat, before I got the cooked meat out of the oven with them. Make sure that your utensils are always clean when you're working with raw meat, and the surfaces too. Our marinated chicken breast has now rested for 5 minutes. You can see, look at how nice that looks. It's got a great color on it. Let's give it a quick taste. Give it a slice here. You can see, just as in the other case, just again show a slice closely here. Since it's rested perfectly, you can see how juicy and lovely. Look at how the juices sort of just peek out there when we squeeze it a little bit. That's just lovely. That's exactly what we want. Let's give it a taste. All right, let's give this guy a try here, man. This looks really great and it smells fantastic. Oh yeah, wow. It's juicy, it's tender. You've got a really great taste combination in that Dijon mustard and sugar-free maple syrup. Oh yeah, that's lunch tomorrow. This last recipe is a little decadent, especially I think for people on the keto diet who have gone a while without having really good deep fried foods. This is going to start with 2 of these big chicken breasts that, as you can see, I've butterflied and pounded out to a fairly even thickness. We're going to need something that's going to replace breadcrumbs. And so what I've got here, I've got 2 servings of 90-minute keto microwave almond flour bread. Say that 3 times fast. Anyway, what I've done is I've sliced it relatively thinly and I dried it in a 200-degree oven for about 2 hours. And now it's ready to break up into breadcrumbs. What I'm going to do is put it in my food processor right here and show you how easy it is to do that. These are nice and brittle and dry. Just going to stick them in there. This should be enough to coat 3 or 4 chicken breasts, I would think. And we're just going to process those quickly, give them a pulse. You can see they break up pretty quickly. Here on this plate, I've got the breadcrumbs. That's about 2 cups of breadcrumbs, to which I'm going to add about 1/4 to 1/3 of a cup of some Parmigiano Reggiano. This is that expensive Italian cheese that is only made in Italy, maybe just a little bit more. This is really going to perk up the flavor here. And to that, I also want to add, in spite of the fact that the cheese is a little bit salty, I want to add a little bit, just a little bit of kosher salt. And as always, some freshly ground black pepper. Freshly ground black pepper and Parmigiano Reggiano really go together well. I'm going to give that a little mix with my hands quickly. And of course, we could season this with other seasonings. You could add a little Italian seasoning or something to this if you like. I'm not going to do that. I think this will just be lovely the way it is. And we're going to get it all mixed up, everything all incorporated. And next, we're going to make a classic egg wash here. Let me just quickly wipe off my counter. Like to be a little neater. There we go. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to break 2 large eggs into a plate. Now I do this in a bowl normally, but the pieces of chicken are flat and rather large, so I think this is going to work best. Oops. Resisting brown egg, there we go. All right. Give my hands just a quick rinse. And to this, we're also going to add just a little bit of salt. I like this. Oops, there's a little shell in there. Let's get that out. Pinch it right out. Sometimes it helps if you use one of the eggshell halves to do that. That went really pretty well. This eggshell seems to attract eggshell. Give it a little bit of freshly ground black pepper. You always want to season every stage. And we're going to mix this up lightly. It doesn't have to be perfectly combined, although we want it to be pretty nice. Make sure our egg yolks are all broken up. There we go. Pretty nice. In a classical Italian breading sequence, we would generally start off by dredging our chicken breast in all-purpose flour that was seasoned, then an egg, and then in the breadcrumbs. In this case, I'm not going to use the flour, and so here's how this works. There's really not much to it. Take our fillet here. It's just... By the way, these have been rinsed and patted dry with a paper towel, patted very dry before I butterflied them. And you can see that egg wash is sticking to that really, really well. I'm going to go ahead and dredge it in the almond flour and Parmesan mixture here. And I'm going to pick some of that up and just kind of use it to coat again. And this is going to be a pretty light breading we're going to have here. This is not a big heavy breading. Again, when you're working with almond flour, especially, almond flour has a lot of calories. It's really delicious, but it's very high in calories. You see, that's pretty well coated there, right? It's really kind of a nice looking breaded chicken breast. We're going to do that with the other one too. Into the egg wash. Make sure we get it nicely coated. And into our breadcrumb mixture. Just going to go ahead and remove that. You can see there's more left. This would actually coat, probably 3 or 4. And again, here we want to make sure we get it nice and evenly coated if we can. I'm going to try to use up all of this. Of course, there's nothing you can do with it afterwards because you can have raw chicken touching it. So I want to use it up. Almond flour is also pretty expensive. I think even the cheapest that I've been able to find on Amazon, often about $5 a pound. But well worth it. Okay, there we go. Now we've got it really well coated and we're ready to go to the stove. This skillet has been heating up over medium heat for about 3 minutes now. And you always want to heat up your skillets pretty well before you put anything in them. Here, I'm going to put 2 nice big tablespoons of ghee. Actually, maybe a little bit more than that. Okay, I think our oil is just about ready. In any case, I can really smell it, that lovely toffee smell of the ghee. I'm going to put this presentation side down right there, and you can see how it starts to sizzle away. I can't do them both at the same time, they're just too big, and we don't want to crowd our pan. Just as in the other case, when I use the skillet, I'm going to leave that there. I'm not going to move it for at least 2.5 minutes, and I'm going to turn the heat up just a little higher here. I really want that to fry up to a nice golden brown, and of course cook all the way through. That's going to take, 3 to 5 minutes on each side. It's been 3 minutes now, so let's check. Oh yeah, look at that. Gorgeous. That is just exactly what we want. Look at how evenly browned that is. That is just beautiful. Another 3 to 5 minutes. Should be about ready to remove to a plate. Look at that beautiful crust. That is just That's exactly what we want. It's always a good idea to check for doneness with a digital thermometer. Let's see how we're doing here. Yeah, looks like we're not really very close to being done here. Slowly climbing in the 120s. I'm going to stick the lid on this and let it cook for another 3 minutes or so. Okay, let's check again for doneness. I'm going to stick this in pretty much the thickest part of the chicken here, about halfway through. We don't want to have it stick on the bottom there. See, there we go. Now we're at 165, 167, a little over that, 172. I'm going to turn that off. It's all right if we go a little bit over. And I'm going to remove this to a plate that is lined with paper towels so we can soak up some of the grease off of this. That's just going to be so delicious. I'm also going to tent that with foil, just like I did with the other ones, so it can rest and so the juices can become incorporated. Now, of course, I'm going to turn the heat back on. I guess I could have left it on there. To medium. This is nice and hot already. It's got a little stuff in there. That's all right. We're going to cook the other one. When I'm done with that, we'll be back. It's been 5 minutes now, and here's our first one that's done. The second one I've already pulled out of the pan, and it's draining now in paper towels. Look at that beautiful crust. And look at the way this is done. I'm going to just cut a couple of slices here so you can get a look at the inside. And once again, I'm going to show you how beautifully juicy this is. Here, let's have a look. See this right here? As we squeeze, a nice little juice peeks right out there. And I'm going to give that a try. Pull it right off of there. Mmm, lovely. Mmm. Oh, yeah. Mmm. 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 That is juicy and tender and buttery. And of course, then there's that lovely Parmigiano Reggiano taste with the breading there that has just a slight crunch to it. This is really, really delicious. Anyway, that's all we have time for today on Tim Talks. Thanks so much for watching. And don't forget to like and comment, share, and subscribe. We'll see you next time.